Well, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. My name is Greg Bailey. I won't have myself on the monitor the whole time, only because I'm in London right now, and so sometimes I never know if it's going to hog the internet connection up. So with that, I just wanted to say hi in real life, but it is me that's going to be doing the session with you. So I'm going to turn this off so it doesn't nail all the bandwidth here. Bear with me. There we go. All right. So we're going to have a pretty fast-paced moving session today. We've got a large crowd. I know we'll have people coming in and out of the session. I will work to take probably 35 minutes, something like that. So just know it's not going to take the whole hour. The whole idea is to kind of cover some main key topics, give you a demonstration, showing you some features, see if they might be a fit for you. And then if we need to, you can always follow up with me afterwards and we can set up some more detailed demos or some trials. So with that, just to talk a little bit, we are one of the Gartner cool vendors in a lot of areas. Our focus really is on resource capacity planning. And obviously, we're going to be talking about the people that are involved with the audit process. We are used all over the world in hundreds and hundreds of companies. Now, there are a lot of companies that use us to help plan and resource their audits. We are also used quite heavily in a lot of these companies where they've got their IT departments. They're using us for their IT resources. And then we have other organizations that use us for kind of engineering resources. So today, again, I'm going to focus on the IT related resource side of the house. Now, there's two other things, key things I'm going to talk about. Is in many cases, we have clients that are using already a GRC system, right? You could be leveraging Wolters Kluwer's Teammate Plus product. You could be leveraging IBM's tool. You could be leveraging some other tool. And so a lot of clients are using those today to plan their audits. And a lot of times they find that that works well, but when it doesn't quite give them what they want, they ended up using Excel. So we have a lot of clients that are really trying to get off Excel and they're able to use us. And in other cases, they want to be able to continue to use the GRC tool because we're not trying to replace that, but we will allow to us to be able to connect in and pull that data in. So I'll kind of focus on both use cases. I don't know what's applicable, but in general, what I'll talk about is assuming you've got a tool in place today, right, where you got audit plans or projects. Sometimes I'll use that term synonymously here. And you've got other things that you're in there. Now, again, in some cases, you might just be doing your annual planning and it's high level. And we want to be able to leverage that data and pull that data in so that we actually can do what I'm going to show you, which is kind of that real good resource planning so that you can also take a look at, where you're over allocated and under allocated, and then do what if scenario analysis, which I'll show you, which is, what if, what if this one slips? What if this audit gets delayed? When can we start this audit? How can we slot it in? So it's kind of some more of the advanced features that some of the GRC tools don't really bring to the table. And it's not that they're not good at what they do. It's just because we're so focused on that, that's why we tend to work a lot with these folks. Now, there are cases too where we pull data in, and then, if there's a need be, we can always push data back as well. So for an example, let's say, and I've got a screenshot of Teammate Plus here, and with one of our connectors that we have. And again, it'll work with any. But you may have, this is what the data would look like, say in Teammate Plus. You got all your audits in here and a bunch of data you're capturing. And in essence, the connector populates Tempus with that same data. So I'll get this live. So basically all the audits that are in here are now captured in here, and I can view them in the Gantt views, the table views, the Kanban style views, and so on. So where it gets really interesting is how are we going to do this resource planning? Now, some of you want to get down to this detailed schedule level. I will tell you, I have an awful lot that don't want to get down to this level. But, again, I just going to let you know that you can, build that stuff out, or some will just do it more in Excel-like way, which is what I'm going to show you. And so I'm going to kind of pick up from there and get into sort of the what if analysis and all that too. All right. So one thing before I get started, I'm going to just do one quick check here. This will help me out as I go through this. I'm going to launch a little poll because this will help me know whether I should focus on people who are using Excel or if you're using your GRC system for that. So let me launch this because then I'll as I'm demoing, I'll make sure that I kind of point out either some things related to Excel. Cool, that's awesome. That's kind of what I figured. All right, good. Gives me a good idea. Okay. Now I'm thinking you guys can see this. I'm thinking as it flows across the screen. We got about 71% Excel and about 29% existing audit. Now it's changing a little bit. Again, I don't know whether you can see it or not on your screen, but yeah, okay, cool. So right now it's about 69% Excel, 35. It's changing here and there, but that's good enough. I'll email this to you afterwards. You can see what the actual percentages came out to. All right, so I'm gonna close that. Okay, so let me get out of this here. So let's show you a little bit around just general high level. So for those that are using Excel, you're going to love this user experience. So I'm kind of getting excited already because so many are using Excel today. But I'm going to go through and just kind of start out a little bit. Is obviously we're going to have resources or people in the pool, right, that we're going to be assigning to work. Now, you're going to have named people, and you're also going to have generic resources, right? So like if you don't know who you're going to put on, you know, you might say, hey, I need a senior auditor, I need a junior auditor, I need this. And bear with me if you're seeing other resource types in here, because, you know, we just tend to be worked on in a lot of different areas. So in fact, what I'm going to do is just to make sure I've got enough, I'm going to go bulk edit all these people, and I'm going to make them junior auditors. Okay, let me move up a little bit on my screen here. Okay, just so I got enough audit resources in my demo. This is how it's easy to make bulk edits. Also, I'm going to change, bear with me 1 second, I got to change my setting here just so I can see my screen. All right. Okay, so I'll make those auditors. All right, I basically just I'm just changing all these people. Let's go change this one here. And I'm going to change this. Let's make them junior auditors. I'm going too fast. Sorry about that. It's good enough. This is good enough for government work. So when you have your resources in the pool, you're going to have also all the attributes about the resources. So what I mean by that is if I look at Rachel, like I can know that Rachel's in, you know, this department, right? In the auditing department or account and finance. Rachel's full-time or a consultant or contractor. Rachel's, you know, in this location. Rachel has this role, whatever that role is, right? And all of these attributes in here are user-defined attributes. So just know that when we are pulling data in from whatever system you're using, we could pull in any of the attributes you might already be tracking in those systems and automatically populate this, right? Or you can enter them directly in here. So again, if you're just using Excel today, just know we'll have your attributes. Now, the other thing you can have about your people, which you may or may not want, but you can get more detailed and actually get down to a little bit more detailed skills data that you can leverage. You have the ability to set up, and again, I've got some examples here, you know, have they yes or no gone through compliance training? Do they have this education? Are they expert in this or proficient in this or demonstrating knowledge in this? Are they a level 2 at this skill? They're a level 3 at this skill. They're a level 5 at that skill. These are just all user-defined sort of examples. So just think in your organization, when you're looking to assign people for work, what is the data you need to capture so that you kind of know? The other place I'm seeing this being used is a lot of times the employees probably have some knowledge that may not be captured in the HR system. So a lot of times we'll augment that, whatever's in the HR system, and either connect or you'll maintain maybe some more detailed data in this system here that you might want to track, which you can do as well. I have like way too many attributes in this thing. All right. So it's only because I'm doing some speeches over here in London at a couple of conferences that have finally started opening up. So I'm at least very happy about that. I'm gonna make some junior auditors here. Oh, do it too fast. Anyways, let's keep going. All right. So you have resources in a pool. You're then going to obviously have your audits. Now, again, these audits could be coming in. I've got, audits that are related to compliance. I've got audits that are related to financial, whatever data we're capturing here. I've got, again, whatever groupings that you use when you're grouping your audits. You may want to just see your audits also, in a different view. So if I have, maybe things grouped by my audit type, my financial audits, my operational, my compliance audits. Again, this could all come in, or you can enter it directly in here, or we can upload it from Excel. So keys that I wanted to go into here is just show you a little bit about planning, making it easy to plan. Then what I'm going to get into is to get into this exciting stuff, which is that what if analysis. Because that's really where you start to take a look at, here's all the audits I've got going on, which I'm going to give you a quick view into this. I'll jump ahead a little bit. So, and I'm going to go undo these changes here from the last demo. And so I can kind of see up here all the audits that are taking place, right? Some of them are live audits. Some of them are proposed audits. I can see down here my roles, my resources, and bear with me, I picked a bunch of others unrelated to audits, but I can look at my auditors, see where I might have some over allocations, where I have under allocations. I can drill down if I want to into the named people and say, well, why is Abigail over allocated? Because we got her on too many audits this month, this week, this day, this quarter. I could also view this in more of a grid view. And I'm just going to do one thing. Yes, question, can the resource attributes be tailored or set up to simulate a skills? Yes, absolutely they can. All right, I'm gonna move that out of the way. I can view this also. I just wanted to make sure the question wasn't, you couldn't hear me or something like that. So I apologize, I just jumped in there real quick. So I can see here where my hours are over allocated. And I'm looking at net availability. And I could also change this to look at where my head count is short. So if you're planning all your audits and you're doing your head count planning, you could say, hey, we're going to be short senior auditors right out here. So I've got a couple of options, right? I can either move something out or know that we've got to do some hiring out here in the future. Now, the other area that I see this, and again, depending on the size of your group, right? Because it could be a group that you've got, 25 auditors, but we've got some clients that have 1,000. So if you've got folks, around the globe or different locations or offices in the country, I could have very easily grouped this instead of by the audit role, and I'm creating a model that just says, grab my data, bring it in this virtual world. So I could have said, hey, I want to group this by my location, right? So I want to see my locations first, and then underneath my locations, show me the people, who's part-time, who's full-time, and then underneath that, show me the roles, because then maybe you want to see, of those locations, where do I have gaps? Because I know we've got some organizations where they'll try to keep people in their local geography first if they can. If not, then they got to see if they've got people available in other locations. So all of it, what I'm showing you in that model there is really just basically whatever it is you choose to want to look at, right? So you're going to basically pick, like, I don't want to see all these. Let's get rid of all that stuff there. SMEs, I'll pick a team lead, senior auditor. All right. So by just selecting that, I've got this here. Now, so again, once your data has been entered in the system, and I will go back and show you that, I can see, again, what do I look like on my resources over and under? Look at it in a grid view, which is the actual counts. Now, I could also just show me where my deficits are. So, highlight my problems, or, highlight where I've got surpluses, right? So there's a lot of settings in here, and you can overlay heat maps even on that. You can change your colors. Again, you can look at it by day, week, month, quarter, just kind of whatever. Because some clients do rolling wave planning, even if they do their large audit plan at the beginning of the year. They may just do that with generic resources, and then they start assigning the named people or replacing those, by month or quarter or whatever look ahead they got. Okay, now what can we do in here? So this is great. Most tools are going to give you the ability to see where you got problems, but then how do you address it? Well, you could say, all right, what if for some reason this barracuda is going to slip out? You want to know what the impact's going to be on your resources. So what if that audit slips? And in real time, the Delta view is going to show you every resource impacted by that audit slipping. What was the allocation before the move? What's the allocation after? Before the move, after the move. And I can get all the way down to the named person. So in this case, Larry was over allocated. A number of these people are, but by us just moving that audit out a little bit, we've just now under allocated them. And that may be okay, right? You may be able to just move that out. If you just move that audit a little bit, you're not going to have a problem. Or you might say, well, what if we move it back a little bit this way, and then have the system tell you where your impacts are going to be if you do that. So again, all the resources impacted, what's their allocation before the move, after, before, and after. And by the way, as I'm doing this what if, I'm not changing any live data. This is allowing me to do it in this little workspace area, so that way you can go through and do all these, what if we do that, what if we do this, what's the impact, and so on. Okay. And you can always undo your changes too as you're going through your model. Now, a few other what if scenarios that I see happening is you might ask the question, let me pick one here, this Python audit. Can we get it done sooner? I don't know. Let's check it out. Let's crash the schedule and show me the impact if we do it sooner. So obviously our auditors are impacted. We're going to be over allocated, right? Not by much, but a little bit. But you might say, well, what if we did it here? I'll turn the interactive update on actually so you can see it as it's happening. So that actually isn't too bad. We're actually can shorten the time to get that done, and we're not going to have an impact or over allocate, at least overall, the auditors. Now, I may still have some individuals, right, that have a problem, but I've got enough availability where I haven't assigned all these people that I can assign that work to. Okay, let's go through and do a couple of other what ifs, and then I'll go back to the data entry component. So let's say you've got new audits coming up and you need to know when can you slot them in. So you can actually ask Tempus, these are proposed audits that maybe you have generic resources on, or maybe you've got named people on, either one, and you might ask the system, when can we start it? And Tempus is going to go out and look for dates, actually give you multiple options of when you can slot it in when it found 100% of the resources available that you were saying you needed, right? So in this case, the soonest it says I could start that branch audit is July 2023. That's when everybody's available you said you need. Now, you might say that's great. No problem, we can wait that long. Or you might say, Tempus, can you give me some additional options? Because I really want to start it sooner than that. So you can ask Tempus to give you other options. It comes back and says, well, actually, I can start it back here in December 2021. Now, you've only got 89% of the resources available that you need. Now, you might say, that's fine. Where's my gaps? So it's going to tell you in this case, because you specifically asked for Emma and Melissa and Philip and Evan, they're only 90% available. But if you can live with that, why don't you start it here and then maybe find someone else to backfill, some of Emma's and Melissa's and Philip's work. The other thing you can do is assume that you were just planning based on generic resources, right? So, you need 3 FTEs of a junior auditor, I need 2 of a senior auditor, whatever. You can just create these really high-level plans without any detail in them and just do this forecasting that way too. So it's a real simple thing to do. So you might say, great, I like that. show me where my gaps are. So I included that in, okay? We knew we were gonna be okay at the high level, but now I just have to deal with addressing, some of the individuals that may be over allocated. So I can just look at this, specifically the named people, that might have some challenges. Okay, sorry about that. So let's go back out of here. So a couple of other scenarios that I see a number of the auditing clients do is they may say, you know what, I want to know, we think we're going to do, hold on, let's this general application. We think we're going to do, I'm going to clone 5 more of those. And let's assume those are going to start in Q1. So I just want to know what my resource requirements will be if we do that, okay? And so clone, let's do 5. I can even say they're going to be a little bigger, change the date or not, and just say clone. So now look at my delta. So Tempus basically said, all right, I'm going to take that existing audit and you are saying, show me what my gaps will be if we just did 5 more of those. And then I could go in and say, well, all right, well, what if we, I've got all those clones, but let's move that one here. What if we move this one here? Slide them around. You get the idea. The whole idea is allowing you to just kind of maneuver and say, what if this moves here? What if that moves there? Help me slot it in. It helps you answer those real questions. Or someone just says, I've got to do this audit on this date, end of story, include it, and show me the impact. And it'll show you the real-time impact if it has any, if it had any. All right, just gonna stop to see if there's any questions on the what if. There is a lot more here. I don't want to overwhelm you. The cool thing is it is very powerful in helping you get answers, and you don't have to put a lot of data in to actually allow you to be able to do this modeling. In fact, a lot of clients, we say if we can just get data in Excel, we can get it uploaded in the system and then you can trial it. And then if we got to connect to the extra, whatever tool you're using, that can be done once you check and see if the tool, works for you. All right. So I think that's probably good in the what if. You can do other things like simulate adding and reducing headcount, or, we had this happen a lot of times where, these folks got to go on COVID protocol. So I want to know what's the impact if, they're going to be taken off, right? Or, we're going to have a increase by a certain percent of a budget or decrease by a certain percent. You can do that. You can also do these at a higher level. So if you had your audits grouped by some attribute, right? Type of audit, priority, business sector, again, whatever it was you were using, right? You could go ahead and group things that way and just say, okay, all of these audits that are in phase 4, I'm just making this up. I'm going to move all of those out. So what if you had prioritization of audits? You just said, okay, I've got priority 2, 3s, and 4s. So, maybe your heat map showing you kind of the ones that are in flight right now, but maybe you got a bunch in the pipe and you just want to know, hey, what if we did all of those? Include them, and then again, show me the delta view. All right. That's the last thing I'll show you there. There is a bunch of stuff up here where you can do resource and replacing and all that, but I want to get to kind of showing some data entry here. All right. Now, as I said, you have audits, and we need to plan those audits. So let's go take a look here at I'm going to pick some simple ones. Let's see. Let's pick one of those. I don't know if there's any data in this one, but I'll show it to you. But let's say I'm going to do a plan here. So in essence, you'll notice that the user interface is like Excel. Okay. So I could go in and say, all right, I'm making the screen pretty big here, just so you can really see the resolution. I can say I'm going to need I'm just going to pick team lead. Bear with these, again, I'm just kind of showing you some examples of generics, right? Program manager, it could be a junior auditor, senior auditor, or whatever. I could specifically ask for a named person too, but I'm going to show you how we can replace those generics. If you notice, you have the ability to either plan at the entire audit level. So sometimes when you're doing the more agile, you don't want, all you know is you're going to go by FTE here and say, I know I'm going to need 1 team lead on this audit. I know I'm going to need 2 program managers, right? Or if you do want to get down and do it by a percentage or do it by hours, you can do that as well. Hey, I know I'm going to need Allison for 200 hours across this audit. Or you can plan by quarter, or you can plan by month, or you can plan by week, or you can plan by day. Main thing I wanted to show you here is it's like Excel. You choose, how do you want, what's the level of granularity you want to do it, and do you plan in hours, do you plan in FTEs, do you plan a percent, or do you plan in man days? A lot of Europeans set those up, and it's all copy paste, drag drop. So it's just super easy. And again, if this data is another system, you can just populate Tempus and bring that in. Okay. Now, a few other things here. One of the scenarios is that my job is to go in and replace that team lead. Okay. Or I'm going to just show you something. It could be where your process is someone entered this, and if you notice, there's a pending, meaning that request went off to a functional manager or a manager that owns, those particular people. All right. So what I'm going to show you is that process. So in other words, I just entered those requests and they now are going to go to a manager. So I'm going to log in as a manager. And this may not be your use case, so I'm going to show you, you don't have to do this, right? This is just one example I wanted to show you. So I can see I have a whole bunch of resource requests that have come to me. Now, people could be, again, just entering the generics, right? Or they could be entering a named person. So like in this case, in this audit new, they're looking for Allison. They want to know, can they have Allison? So me as a manager, then I can go in and say, okay, how much time do they need of Allison? Let me go see whether Allison's available or not, because I know, everybody's availability, because I know what everybody's working on. And also, if I want to see data about the people in my team, this is where I could add stuff like, show me, who's got a high rating or low rating in this experience, right? They've specifically requested that. Or, I need to know who's got like a 1, 2, 3 level in these various research areas, right? So again, just know I could include in here, like, what's their location, what's their skill, what credentials, do they have, right? I could basically look at whatever data I wanted about the people. And then if I see Allison's good, I could say, okay, I'm going to approve that request, reject it. Maybe I delegate this to a different manager, or it could be I can just go in here and say, you know what, I can't give you Allison, but let's see, who can I give you? I'll give you someone else. I'm just going to do this fast. I'll give you Angela instead. Okay, so I can then swap out Angela for Allison. Just imagine instead of Angela here, this said senior auditor. So now me as a manager, I can say, okay, they need 2 senior auditors. Let me go see who's available. Great, this is who I'm going to give them. So you have the ability to do that. Now, if your scenario is you don't have a workflow, that's okay. Let me go log back in. We do support single sign-on. We run in Microsoft Azure. So wherever you are in the world, every client gets their own dedicated environment. We're SOC 2 Type 2 compliant. GPDR for our European clients, the servers are over here or wherever in the world you are. Also, we do make this available on premise for those clients that really have to have it on their own servers. So as I mentioned, I could go in here and just, if I go look at an audit here, I don't remember which one I added to, bear with me, I'm just gonna pick it here quick. And I'm gonna also show you a bulk audit, yeah. So here, if I said, okay, I need to replace this team lead, right? Replace. I get that same screen. So I don't have to send this off to a manager. I'm just saying if someone in your organization is the one responsible for saying, hey, they need a team lead, this is what they're either FTEs or percentage of time or hours they're looking for. Again, you could pick the dimension. They could go down here and take a look and say, well, who's the team lead I'm going to put on this? And all of your filters are available to you to say, hey, I only show me people in this country with these credentials, speak this language, are full-time people or contractors. All that stuff's available to you. Okay, I think I've droned on that a little bit. Okay, now the other thing I see people a lot is in this bulk edit. So that was really showing you like what it's like to enter data, just simple like Excel. Now the other place is here in this bulk edit, and this is generally like if you wanted to go in and say, I'm going to go do some planning for whatever time window you're picking, and you're going to pick the audits or pick the people, and you want to edit a whole bunch of audits at one time, right? So that's what I'm seeing here, is it basically just builds a big kind of Excel-like UI down here that you can now plan. In this case, so I'm going to put Allison on this, or Amy on the close audit. I'm going to put Amy on field work 2. I'm going to put Amy on final review. So again, just bear with me, right? So this would have let me here to do my planning, right? Whether I'm doing it by hours, whether I'm doing it by FTEs, whether I'm doing it by percent. And Tempus will always convert it. So the cool thing is people could enter it different ways, but you can get all your reports out by hours, head count, by percent of time, both planned. And if you are capturing actual hours, either we can present those auditors a view of what they've been assigned to work on, and just present that. If you want to capture their actuals, we can have them enter their actual hours in that simple user experience I can show you, or I can pull those actuals in from another system. So the benefit of that is if you're wanting to look at plan versus actual versus remaining, and maybe get some forecasting reports. So let's go look and see what I got here. I got a whole bunch of them. Let's see. So whether I want to look at kind of graphics, so again, it could be let's go look at this supply demand. So for example, this could be what we've planned, the bars, and this could be what our capacity is for our in-house. And this is just an example of our in-house workers. So I can see I'm starting to breach my capacity here. And this could be the capacity line of, maybe what you got enough external contractors available to fit it. So again, I'm just showing an example that, you'll be able to get all kinds of, supply demand, stack bars, area graphs, and I'll kind of show you some even fancier stuff than that in our advanced dashboards. And I could even include like plan versus actuals, versus remaining that you would look at on these charts. Also, it's super easy just to do, like for anyone that's using Excel, it's hard to roll that data up. So we've made the pivot grid. So now everybody's entering data in one location. So if you wanted to just create a quick pivot report, you're just going to say, hey, I want to look at the, let's say I want to look at my, I don't know, let's go look at our resources, and I want to group them by, again, these are all your custom fields, right? So just pick whatever you want. I want to look at my by employment basis. And then maybe underneath that, I want to look at the position role. And then maybe I want to look at, let's just say, planned hours. All right. Probably don't want to look at all those years, so let's just change that. And let's say we want to look at just 2021 or whatever our fiscal year is. All right. So what I do, I just, this is really simple. Just by year, show me my, my contractors, show me the roles, and show me how many planned hours. Now, if I wanted to add other data in here, right? Like I want to see my audits, right? I want to, before I pull just the audit names in, I want to group my audits by audit type or whatever. I can bring, or maybe I want to pull audit type in there, right? Or move that up. So you get the idea. It's super easy to create these reports and then be able to just present these out there. And then if I wanted to add the audits in, again, this isn't a fancy chart. I'm just hacking away at this for you all on here. But I just wanted to show you the pivot grids and the graphics are super easy. And then we also have our advanced insight tool, which is coming out here this month. So I'll just show you this. This is kind of an advanced one. Some clients want to use this, some don't. It really is the ability to do like all kinds of graphics. And I even have some clients that will use this where they'll pull data in from other data sources and mix it in with their Tempus data, which this will allow you to do. And I may have one of my team in this little development environment because they're prepping for another demo we have here. And so I'm kind of showing this early. So bear with me. I'll see if it comes up. They may try to bash me out of this. There we go. Okay, they let me in. I always like to show this stuff early. So it's pretty much any kind of graphic that you're going to want to get. So whether you're using it, spend, allocation, looking at resourcing charts, listing of your audits, the bubbles type charts that you want to see. And it's really easy to kind of build out, dashboards. So if you had, in this case, you were doing audits all over the world or different parts of the United States or whatever, you could start out with the a map, right? And then have it, pop red or green or yellow, depending on where those audits are taking place. That might then bring kind of, hey, here's where our gaps are in our heat map. And then if I want to drill down again, I want to drill down to the list of audits and I want to see this by this way. Maybe I want to see my supply demand chart. So just kind of imagine it's kind of whatever data you want to see, you can pull that data together and really get some fancy charts. And also the nice thing is you can set it up where these reports get auto scheduled, so they can auto be scheduled to people and whatever format you create. And also you can set up alerts. So that way, if a certain threshold gets hit, you can have that threshold notify you that you're breaching that threshold and then automatically send out a notice to you that you're breaching that threshold, right? So again, you can have your audits grouped by whatever attribute and then allow you to kind of see whether it's spend or resource data or whatever in these charts. And then the cool thing is you can even say, well, I might want to, I want to change that chart. And you might want Tempus, you might say, okay, I've got that chart, looks like that. But you know what, Tempus, why don't you make me some suggestions on what the chart should look like? And then you could do that. So that, again, anyways, I just wanted to give you a little preview of the Insight tool. I don't have it in this base one. So with that, kind of where we started here is we started with, if you have your data in Excel, we can upload your data to Excel. Now, really, once you get it into Tempus, probably you don't need to keep using Excel because the user experience is like Excel. If you've got data in your GRC tool, we just determine what data you want to populate into Tempus. Some users will just pull all that data in and use Tempus just for the what if. Others will bring their data in and use Tempus for that resource capacity planning, right? And so that's kind of really what the example was. And then we got into showing some of the what if analysis. So with that, I'm going to kind of open it up for questions. I actually have in the meeting there, this PowerPoint you can download. I've got some other slides and screenshots in there in the handouts area. And I also have a bunch of other brochures you can have if you want. If you want a copy of this video, let me know and I can send you a copy of this video as well. But I'll hang on here for a little bit just to see if there's any questions at all that anybody might have.